Something metallic is bleeding through empty space, and it didn't originate here. A visitor, catalogued as 3E Atlas, streaks through the solar system at unimaginable speed. Telescopes pick it up. Instruments that have tracked comets and asteroids for decades suddenly show a profile no one expected. At first glance it looks like another interstellar interloper, tiny, bright, fast. But spectra delivered a shock. The cloud of material steaming off the object isn't the usual mix of water and frozen gases. It's almost pure nickel, not mingled with iron, not mottled with dust, but an unnaturally refined outflow, measured in pounds per second. Nickel in isolation. Nickel as if it had been purified and set free. There's something uncomfortably deliberate about that chemistry. Nickel and iron are born together in stellar furnaces. They travel together through space in meteorites and planetary cores. To find one without the other is like finding a perfectly machined gear in a field of raw ore. The separation implies processes we don't see in nature, processes that look suspiciously industrial. Then the data deepen the mystery. Multiple observatories, stretched across wavelengths from optical to infrared, detect patterned pulses buried inside the emissions. These aren't random spikes from cosmic rays. They carry structure, repeating cycles with subtle variation, the sort of ordered complexity that makes researchers tilt their heads and whisper about information, not noise. The James Webb Space Telescope peers where others cannot and finds further oddities. The ratios of certain gases in the escaping material are off the charts, carbon dioxide dwarfing water in numbers far beyond what comet chemistry normally allows. The composition looks like deliberate formulation, not happenstance. Trajectory adds to the list of anomalies. 3E Atlas follows a route that sweeps past Venus, Mars, and Jupiter in a sequence with odds astronomers call vanishingly small. Its path isn't a carefree tumble through the sun's gravity. It's a series of near-precise brushes, a retrograde orbit that goes against the flow of the planets. Each adjustment appears calculated, each close pass suspiciously timed. If it's moving with intent, then it isn't merely a rock, it's a craft, or at least a device. Signals buried in chemistry turn into signals of another kind. Some teams find mathematical patterns encoded in metallic ratios, numerical sequences, rhythm, repetition that a technologically literate mind could use to communicate. A few researchers suggest this is a message written in metallurgy and molecular mix. A language of ratios and cycles that presumes a shared logic of science. Then other phenomena begin to line up. Small asteroids near the object's path show minute changes in their orbits, motions too precise and too consistent to be explained by gravitational nudges alone. The effect, tiny, cumulative, becomes known among scientists as a whisper. A faint but measurable interaction with nearby bodies. If 3E Atlas can tug on rocks, it can interact with its environment in ways that transcend simple ballistics. Thermal measurements complicate the narrative further. Instead of cooling as it recedes from sunlight, portions of the object grow warmer. The heat output pulses on a steady schedule, a minutes-long cadence that later shifts to a different frequency. Those heat pulses align with the timing of the gravitational whispers. Coincidence becomes less convincing with each matching beat. And the moon answers. An orbital instrument mapping the lunar far side records a faint electromagnetic echo that mirrors the object's frequency. Either 3E Atlas triggered a buried transmitter on the moon, or something dormant there recognized and replied. Both possibilities point to the same unnerving conclusion. This visitor is reconnecting with something that was already in place. For a time the signals build, then fade. 3E Atlas appears to shut down, its nickel stream stopping, emissions going silent. The timing is precise. 1 hour later scientists scramble as ground and space sensors report a global tracking blackout. Observatories across multiple continents lose lock on the object at once. Satellites stutter. For 37 seconds the world's sensors go blind. When sight returns, the object's course has changed subtly but clearly, a fractional shift that could only have been executed during the blind interval. Ground and orbital data keep arriving like telegrams from a world we thought we understood. A defense satellite flags an almost playful anomaly, a geometric thermal bloom, perfectly hexagonal, blooming across infrared frames for just over a second. Hexagons on a planetary scale are the signature of design, not of random geology. Instruments register it, then the frame collapses back into background noise as if nothing happened at all. Beneath the Indian Ocean, networks of seismometers tune to an unfamiliar rhythm. The readings are not the broad, chaotic shudder of an earthquake. These are ultra-low frequency pulses, precise, repeated, and pointed upward, as if some slow, enormous metronome were tapping at the sky. Analysts slice the waveforms and find structure. Regular spacing, tiny modulations, the sort of scaffolding you see in engineered transmissions. Far above, something smaller and human-made turns traitor. A modest CubeSat, a student project launched for weather mapping, begins to rebroadcast a patterned burst it was never programmed to emit. Its uplink, once a routine telemetry stream, now carries a waveform that matches microburst isolated from 3E Atlas's emissions. The satellite did not malfunction in a mundane way. It was hijacked or hijacked itself, converted into a relay, a node in a system that reaches outward from the object and, now, inward toward us. Light itself plays along. When photons from distant stars skim the object's edges, they arrive twisted. Early on, astronomers assumed gravitational lensing, the classic bending of space by mass, but the math is stubborn. There isn't enough mass to do this. Instead, the starlight seems to be shaped actively, folded and sheared by a field that pulses in step with the object's hidden microburst. The effect is as if someone rubbed a glass lens that alternately focuses and scatters the light, a cloak that is at once camouflage and conversation. Then the past reaches forward. Researchers revisit an old fast radio burst, catalog number FRB201124A, a bright, inexplicable whisper recorded years earlier from a galaxy 400 million light-years away. When they run the old data through new filters, the modulation structure looks eerily familiar, a near mirror of the patterns now being read from 3E Atlas. Could an event that distant share the same signature as an object cruising through our backyard? If so, we may be tracing not an isolated incident but a method. Whoever composed these pulses, natural forces, random chance, or otherwise, is using a repeatable language. The conversation rapidly exits the sterile world of journals and slides into politics. Labs brief ministries. Defense agencies convene huddles. Some call for public calm, others demand immediate contingency plans. The media, hungry and electric, oscillates between breathless wonder and calculated fear. Streets fill with the usual human responses: speculation, memes, private prayer, and a spike in late-night coffee orders. The public tone fractures. A third of the world is fascinated, another third is terrified, the rest simply want to see the data. Meanwhile, the object's behavior remains maddeningly ambiguous. Activity comes in pulses, bright, methodical episodes where nickel mist blooms an encoded microburst fan into the spectrum, and long silences where 3E Atlas appears to curl into itself. It leaves traces that are not merely chemical but cognitive. Ratios that suggest encoding, heat cycles that look like clockwork, gravitational nudges that act more like the fingertips of an operator than the tug of raw mass. Scientists are pulled into two uneasy camps. One argues for a cautious engineering interpretation. A probe, perhaps ancient, with propulsion and internal systems that were never meant for casual discovery. The other warns against anthropomorphism. Complex doesn't automatically mean conscious. Both camps know the same thing, though. This object behaves with a level of predictability and intention we cannot comfortably explain. The moon, silent witness to human history, becomes part of that narrative. An echo recorded from its far side mirrors the object's frequency. The signal is faint, but its match to 3E Atlas is unmistakable. Either the object lit a dormant device on the lunar surface, or something on the moon recognized the signal and answered. Either possibility skirts the border of science fiction and forces a hard question. Was there ever infrastructure left here for such an exchange? Or did our visitor find something old and wake it? Then, for 37 seconds, the planet blinks. Telescopes in Hawaii, Chile, South Africa, Australia, and Antarctica simultaneously lose lock. Even satellites record brief telemetry blips. When observations resume, the object's bearing has shifted. A small, deliberate course correction executed in the blind. The timing is surgical, the implication is stark. Whoever, whatever, controls 3E Atlas can act while we cannot see. Technology begins to leak back into the world. A single CubeSat rebroadcasts the object's microburst. Communications gear experiences unexplained noise.